are you ready to play Rescue My Digital Office? The game space that we are going to be working on today is Optimize Your Desktop. And by desktop, what I mean is this screen, I'm going to pull up the toolbar, this screen here that you have when you first turn on your computer, and you've got your little toolbar here, and then you have the main background wallpaper desktop. Uh, Desktop is also used to describe a type of computer that doesn't wander around with you as opposed to a laptop. So there's a difference between the laptop and desktop as far as the type of computer that you have. And then there's also the desktop, which is the screen that you see when you first turn on your computer. This particular desktop is a Mac, and you can tell that by this um, little blue smiley face called Finder, and the toolbar is kind of silver, and it usually lives in the middle. You can move this toolbar around, but I'm going to leave it here at the bottom in the center of my screen. Desktop on a PC computer, and in this case, we have a toolbar that goes all the way across the bottom here. So this toolbar goes along the bottom, and mine is silver. I think we can probably change the color or do some fun things with it, but we're not going to. But these are the two main differences between these computers, a PC versus Mac. In the PC, you have this little yellow folder guy instead of the blue Finder guy. They do the same thing. They're just called different. So I'm going to go back to the Mac, and we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to bring up our game space again and taskbar. So that's this bar across the bottom. It's called a dock in a Mac, and it's called a taskbar in the PC. This is where all of your important programs should go. And so I'm going to minimize this just so that you can see our screen here. Right here on my dock, on my Mac here, I've got the Chrome browser. I also have Edge and Firefox, Safari. It looks like I've got a calculator, and I've got the Zoom app. I have several apps along the bottom here. And in this Mac, you'll notice we've also got a little tiny dot down here at the bottom of the screen, which you may or may not be able to see it very well. This dot means that these programs are running in the background. So if I were to right click, I could quit the program. Over here, the Safari is not on, so when I right click, it just tells me that it is Safari, and it will give me some options. So this is how you can organize this toolbar, because you really only want the programs that you actually use on a regular basis. Because any programs that you don't actually use that often, you can find in your Launchpad. So this is the Mac's Launchpad. Some of you, it may look like a little rocket ship. This particular style of Launchpad is for the Big Sur, and it changed recently. So if you have one that looks like a rocket ship, it goes to the same place. And this is where all your programs can be found. I'm going to click that again to get back to the desktop. So let's say we don't want this many icons on the desktop, on the toolbar here. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to right click. That is secondary click for those of you who have a trackpad. You can use two fingers on your trackpad to bring up this little menu. And this menu gives you the option to remove that program from your dock. Removing it from your dock does not delete it from your computer. So you can always find it again. So that was Safari, and I removed Safari from my dock. And let's say, ooh, I didn't mean to do that. I can go and bring it back. And notice Safari opened up over here. On the Mac, all of the icons that are not regularly in your dock, if the program's open, they'll hang out here. So here the Safari is not in my dock because I deleted it, remember? But now it's showed back up again because it's open, so it's got the little dot. And what if I say, oh, I don't really want this open anymore? I can close it and it will go hide, and I right click, and once I quit completely, because here we can open it up and this little red will close the program, but it's still going to hang out here just in case I want it again. in which case I can right click it, I can quit it completely and it will go away, or I can decide, I really want to keep it in my dock, and we'll keep it in the dock, and it goes over on the other side of this little line, meaning now it lives in the dock. So it's a good idea to organize this dock in a way that you want to work. And I kind of like all my browsers together, so I'm going to click and hold and drag this Safari back over with the rest of my browsers. So you can organize in that fashion as well. Let's move over to the PC and do the same thing. So here I am with the PC, and notice we have the toolbar is down here because they call it a toolbar, not a dock. And this I have several programs here. And instead of the little dot at the bottom, it has this little kind of highlighted line to show you the programs that are open and running. So here Zoom is our example. And so I can click on that, open Zoom. I can close Zoom. And when I close Zoom, the little line goes away and Zoom remains here on my toolbar. Same with Excel here. I'm going to right click Excel because it'll bring me this option to pin it to the taskbar, in which case I can pin it to the taskbar and it will stay in place and then be on my taskbar. So now when I close it, it won't go away. I can check to see whether or not it will go away by right clicking, and I can click unpin from taskbar and it will go away. And the same thing with rearranging them. You can click and hold and drag so that the icons are together, the icons you want are together. So getting this toolbar to be just full of programs you actually use is a very nice way of improving your efficiency with your computer. Also, just an FYI, in the lower right corner of your PC, you have this section over here. And this kind of tells you what's going on and what's connected to your computer. You can click this little up arrow and it will tell you more things. And so for me, it looks like I've got my OneDrive is hanging out here. My Dropbox connection is hanging out. I've got another OneDrive account, and it looks like I should probably do something with my Windows security. It probably just wants me to do updates, which I will do after this Facebook Live here. So that is a very quick recap. So some of you are minimalists like me. I like to have a really nice clean desktop. Some of you, I'm going to move to the PC here. Some of you like to look at your icons all front and center. And so let's take a look at how that works. With the icons on your desktop here, you can move them around so that they're in different locations on your desktop. You can also delete them from your desktop. If you right click, you have the option to delete an icon. You can also add things to your desktop. You can open your file explorer, and we can go to our folder. And here we can go ahead and move things along. If you just drag it from one place to the other, it'll take it out of where it is and move it to the desktop. See how it says move to desktop? Let's say you didn't want to move it to the desktop. Let's say you just want a shortcut, which means you want to keep this icon in its location in the bowels of your computer. You can right click it and choose send to desktop, and it will create a shortcut and send that image, that file to the desktop. So that's nice. That also means when you delete this from your desktop, delete, it does not delete, got it, thank you very much, OneDrive. It does not delete it from the actual location in this desktop icons folder that we have. It just deleted from the desktop. Now you want to be careful with this because there are two things that you want to be aware of. One, if your icon has this little arrow, that automatically tells you it's a shortcut, so it's safe for you to delete that icon. And it will not be actually deleted from your computer, it will just be deleted from the desktop. but they don't always have those. Some of them have them on them all, and some of them, sometimes those arrows are missing. So I'm going to right click this file and I'm going to choose properties, and it will give you more detailed information on what type of icon that is. In the general, this particular file is a shortcut. So deleting it is safe. It's only this particular icon is only on your desktop, and the real program is deeper within the system. Let's take a look at this one here. We're going to right click Edge and choose properties. And we're going to go to General, and notice it's got the shortcut arrow here. For some reason, reasons beyond my comprehension, it doesn't show it up here in this icon, but that's okay. This tells you it is a shortcut, and therefore it is safe to delete if you choose to delete it. So I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to go ahead and actually delete that icon. So I still have Edge. Thank you very much. Let's tell OneDrive to stop bothering me with that message. We still have Edge, and it can be opened here from the toolbar. See, it still works. It's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and close that program. And the next thing that we are going to talk about with our icons here is maneuvering them about. We click and hold and drag, and that will allow you to maneuver them in line of where you want. You can also right click on your desktop and sort your icons by their name, by their file size, by their item type, or the date modified, and your computer will automatically organize them. Let's go ahead and organize them alphabetically. So I click by name, and there they have all moved in a nice, tidy alphabetical system on my desktop here. Now, this is super great if I like things alphabetical, but if I've moved them around and decided I want these things in particular locations, then that sorting can be a little bit of a problem. So let's do a similar thing for the Mac. Of course, I don't have a bunch of icons, so let's put some on here. Let me get that. Go ahead, and I'm going to move some icons onto the desktop so that I have something to show you. So here's my little icons. They're all over the desktop in a nice, fun little mess of all kinds of nonsense. The same thing applies with the little, we'll first talk about this little arrow here. This little arrow tells us that this particular one is a shortcut. This particular one's a shortcut. And then these ones here are potentially real files. We can also confirm this information by right-clicking. And this time we're going to get info because we're on a Mac. So instead of properties, we're going to click info. And it's going to tell us that this image is an actual JPEG image. It's not a shortcut. So if I delete this file, it will be deleted from my computer. Whereas this one with the little arrow, if I right click it and I hit get info, it tells me that it's an alias, which is the Mac's fancy way of saying shortcut. So if I were to delete this particular icon, um, the Zoom program would remain on my computer, but the icon would no longer be on my desktop, and that would be fine. We can also, just like the PC, organize these icons on the desktop in a nice tidy fashion by right-clicking on the desktop. And this one here, we've got sort by name. And what it did is it put them all on my lower screen here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to drag them back up because this is my secondary monitor. Looks like I'd have to do it one at a time. We're going to go over here. I want to get them back to my desktop. It should let me move them up. Looks like it doesn't feel like it at the moment. I'm going to right click, sort by none. Now I can bring them back. So when you sort them, they go to your primary desktop. So next, now that we've got the idea of how to organize our icons on our desktop, as I mentioned, some of you are super excited about having icons on your desktop, and some of you are less excited about that. And that is 100% a personal preference. You want it to be such that you turn on your computer and it doesn't freak you out, that you are okay by having it open and doing its thing, and it doesn't stress you out with the amount of icons that you have on your desktop. So beyond that, there's another thing that you can do to make it even more joyful for you to open up your computer and see what is up for the day. And that is making your desktop super pretty. So what we can do is we can change the background on both the PC or the Mac so that it's a more pleasing desktop, whether you have icons on it or not. So I'm going to right click on the desktop. If you've got a trackpad, use 2 fingers to tap on a blank space on the desktop. And for the PC, we call it personalize. So click personalize. And this will allow you to find another image. So I'm going to click browse because browse universally means go find another picture somewhere else so that you can use it on your desktop. You also have the option of choosing the ones, a couple of these that Microsoft has offered. Like we could choose this little bit of water, choose that one, and it will change the background to that bit of water, or the camping. Right click, personalize, and we're going to go back to browse. And in this case, we want to choose a fun picture from the desktop. Let's see what we've got. Looks like I've got a cat and a dragon. Let's see if, looks like that's just a shortcut. Let's see what I've got here. It looks like I took them all out to put on my Mac, so they're not in there anymore. But we can choose a file from here. Let's get some fun images. Oh, here I've got my kid. Let's put her in here and choose the picture. And I have, once I've got this in, let's kind of, we can notice as you look here, the picture kind of gets cut off at the top. It doesn't necessarily fit. You can arrange it. Here, let's close this so you can really see. So if we don't like how this picture looks on the screen, we can adjust it in a couple different ways. So if I right click and I go back to personalize, I can scroll, ooh, so fast, and I can choose, here we go. We can choose the fit of the picture. So here I've got it chosen to fit. So that means it's going to put the picture, the whole picture on there, and then whatever isn't the picture is going to be in navy blue. I could fill the screen with the picture. And then what it will do is it'll zoom in until the picture shows up completely on your desktop, which that's not quite what we want. So I'm going to right click again, personalize, and let's try something else. So our next one, let's scroll down just a touch to find this choose a fit. I'm going to click fill. This time I'm going to hit stretch and see what that does. And let's minimize that. Oh, that's not quite the type picture that I want. Let's bring her back, and I'm going to go back to choosing fit. Let's click fit. So those are the ways that you can organize your desktop and make it look a lot better for you. So I can say, okay, well, Zoom could live on her little shoulder here, and this particular document could live in her hat. And I can decide to organize myself that way. The other thing I can do, and I'm going to go over to the Mac to demonstrate how to change a Mac background picture. And I'm going to do it by choosing a picture that might even enhance my productivity. So we've got the same strategy of right clicking. And on the Mac, it's called Change Desktop Background. And what that does is it will pop up the screens for my desktop background. And in this case, because I have 2 screens, I have a primary desktop, that's this one here, and I have a secondary desktop, and that's actually the one that we're looking at is the secondary desktop. I get to choose which background I want on which screen. And so in this case, I already have images that I can choose. And with the Mac, those images need to be in your photos. So if you want to have an image that isn't among your choices, isn't in your Mac photos, you can take an image And I think we can drag it to it. No, no, we have to drag it to the actual images themselves. So here I could take the image and put it in my photos. And then that image would be available for me to choose. As I scroll down, it should pop up here momentarily. It might be after a little bit of time. Let's go to photos. I think it goes either at the very, very top or the very, very bottom. One of those, that little image should appear somewhere. I'm not going to fight with it too much because it is a little tricky at times. But I save everything here in Luxcentric. And so I've put the photo where I want it to go in my Mac photos. And I'm going to choose it. And once I choose it, once it's actually active, then all I need to do is close my little windows. And so this particular background it's just simply an image set up the way that I want it. And so here I can use this background as a productivity tool. I can decide, okay, I'm going to file that file. I'm going to file that one. I'm going to file that one. I think I need to finish this particular spreadsheet and this particular spreadsheet. This is a program. I don't need to do anything about it, but it does need to live in my program in a place where I can find it. And then these things, I don't need to deal with them. They're my not nows. So I have my not now, I have my now section, and I have my file section. So this is a fun little way that you can use your computer background as a productivity tool. And we could do the same thing on the PC as well, just finding that image and then saving it as a wallpaper or a background. Thank you all for joining me, and until next time, I will see you all about the internet.